Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us for the annual Green Your Neighborhood Community Forum. We apologize for the delay, but we are ready to get started. This event is brought to you by the Sierra Club Michigan chapter, Friends of the Rouge, and it is generously supported by the Erb Family Foundation. If you are just joining us, as Jackie mentioned, please drop your location where you're joining us from in the chat. We are very excited to get started. As I mentioned, the Green Your Neighborhood Community Forum is a collaborative event between the Sierra Club and Friends of the Rouge. This event aims to connect residents like each of you to the resources and information and programs available that help you all make better choices to green your neighborhood. Before we get started today, we're going to talk a little bit about what the Sierra Club Michigan chapter is, what Friends of the Rouge is, and kind of the work that has brought us here today. So I am Elaine Elliott. I am the Green Stormwater Infrastructure Community Organizer with the Sierra Club Michigan chapter. The Sierra Club is a national organization, but we are the local chapter for the state of Michigan. We work on a number of policy issues across the state. And I work out of the Detroit office, where my work is centered primarily on green infrastructure and helping community members divert the amount of stormwater that enters Detroit's sewage system. So we do that through programs like rain barrel workshops. You can see a picture of a rain barrel here. We do that through green infrastructure tours, which highlight installations across the city of Detroit that are diverting stormwater. And we tell people, what are those large plantings that you see and how do they work? So that's an annual event that we do. And we also work with our friends at Friends of the Rouge to install rain gardens across the city. And if you would like to learn more information about the Sierra Club Michigan chapter, please join us for other sessions in the Green Your Neighborhood series, or visit us online at sierraclub.org/Michigan.
So hi everyone, my name is Jacqueline Hankula and I'm the River Restoration Assistant with Friends of the Rouge. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Friends of the Rouge. So we are a nonprofit organization that was founded in 1986 to raise awareness about the need to clean up the Rouge River in Southeast Michigan. Friends of the Rouge serves 2.5 million people in 48 communities in Southeast Michigan, which includes a lot of the city of Detroit. The Rouge River watershed covers 467 square miles with 4 river branches and 126 miles of streams. And the organization was first started when a group of concerned citizens got together to clean up the Rouge River. Nowadays, that is our continued Rouge Rescue River Cleanup event that we do hold every year. Other programming includes school-based watershed education, biological monitoring of fish, frogs, and toads, and macroinvertebrates, aka like river bugs. We also install rain gardens and other GSI, which we'll talk a little bit more about, as well as a recreational water trail on our lower branch. And Elaine, you could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. All right, so what is the problem with stormwater? In urban areas and with urban rivers like the Rouge and Detroit River, stormwater is actually the leading cause of water pollution. When it rains, all the water has to go somewhere, and in a developed setting, the rain needs to be managed to prevent flooding and sewer overflows. When it rains onto natural landscapes like forests or grassy fields, the water soaks right into the ground. If water falls on hard or impervious surfaces, as you can see in our leftmost figure there, the water runs off and can collect trash, fertilizers, pesticides, salt, oils, and other contaminations along its journey. and 42% of Detroit's land cover is actually impervious surfaces. As you can see on the map on the right, the darker gray is higher percentages of impervious surfaces. So the city has a lot of stormwater to manage. Detroit also has a combined sewer system where wastewater from homes and businesses, as well as stormwater runoff from our streets and rooftops and parking lots, are combined into the same sewer pipe and connected to the wastewater treatment plant. But during heavy rain events, the combined sewer pipe can exceed the capacity, and raw or partially treated wastewater is discharged directly into the Rouge and Detroit rivers to prevent backups into people's homes of this water. So the city of Detroit needs to hold back billions, that's with a B, billions of gallons of water, or they will have to install expensive gray infrastructure that the residents would have to bear the burden of. And then our other photo on there was just kind of a CSO, or the combined sewer kind of functionality there. All right, and why should you care? So our actions have an effect on the world around us, even if we don't see it. So rivers are continuously flowing. So what happens upstream affects everything downstream. Combined sewer overflow events can be harmful to human and ecological health and can result in high levels of harmful bacteria in the water, degraded water quality and habitat, loss of recreational opportunities, reduced or harmed fish and wildlife populations, as well as several economic impacts, just to name a few. One example of harmful effects is the algal blooms in Lake Erie, if you've heard anything about those. That happens when an excess fertilizers and nutrient runoff pollution make its way into the lake, which does include the Rouge and Detroit rivers. The algae has an excess amount of nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus and can grow very rapidly, blocking sunlight to the water below, using up oxygen that the aquatic life need to survive, and making a bright green slime type covering of the water, as you can see in the one little photo there. So not very nice to look at either. So these algal blooms can make the water toxic to fish, wildlife, and people.
So if you're wondering what you can do, one thing you can do is disconnect your downspout. So if your downspout is currently connected to the sewer system, just reroute your gutter so that it goes onto your lawn, or you can also install a rain barrel at that particular site. So you're capturing all of the water from your roof and using that, collecting that water in a rain barrel and using it to water your lawn. And you can also install a rain garden. So together, Sierra Club and Friends of the Rouge run a program called Rain Gardens to the Rescue, and you can install a rain garden to divert some of the water in your natural landscape to create a beautiful space for pollinators and a beautiful garden for your neighborhood to enjoy. And here is a map of all the rain gardens that Friends of the Rouge and Sierra Club have installed, either through Rain Gardens to the Rescue or the Land and Waterworks program, or through a program with National Wildlife Federation called Sacred Grounds. So since 2011, when the Sierra Club and Friends of the Rouge installed the first, together, we have installed 81 other gardens that collect over 60,000 gallons of rainwater per rain event through Rain Gardens to the Rescue alone. In addition, we installed another 9 rain gardens in Detroit through other projects bringing the total number of projects across the city to 101. If you are interested in your garden or at either your home or a community center or place of worship near you, if you're interested in that garden ending up on this map, or if you're interested in having a garden, we will have an event on March 29th that talks about the Rain Garden to the Rescue program, what areas we're focused on this year, and we will have more details about that at the end. So again, we have the opportunity to here to be a part of the stormwater solution to water pollution. We are in the Great Lakes, which has 20% of the world's fresh water, and we definitely want to do all we can to protect that. So without further ado, we are going to jump into our flash talks this evening, and I am going to pass it over to my colleagues at Wayne State.
Hi, everybody. My name is Grace Maves, and I'm an intern with the office. And Wayne State's Office of Campus Sustainability is going to be kind of giving you an overview of a guide to non-toxic cleaners. And to start, we're going to give you a little overview of what our office does and why choosing non-toxic chemical cleaners is important. The main ingredients that you'll need to make your own at home. And then Camille's gonna do a flash demonstration of how easy it is to make them at home for us. And we'll send you off in the hopes that you'll check out the guide that we'll have attached in the resources. You can go to the next slide. Thank you.
So as Grace had mentioned, my name is Camille Bedford, and I'm an intern with the Office of Campus Sustainability. I wanted to introduce you guys to what our office does, and I'm sure, as you guys all understand, sustainability is huge importance in everyday life. So today we just want to kind of give you a brief overview of all the sustainable measures that we are in charge of, both on campus and kind of with our community groups as well. So what kind of things does our office do? We are in charge of the recycling programs and initiatives on campus. So we are the ones that are kind of doing all the waste audits and making sure that our recycling is going into our, trying to promote the recycling program on campus. Grace is also she's also an intern with the office, and she is in charge of our compost pilot, which is brand new to the office, which is a really exciting initiative that we've started this past semester, so fall 2020. We do networking with sustainable student organizations. So any group that is registered with our Dean of Students office who either promotes sustainability in some aspect or wants to learn more about sustainability, we have a umbrella group called the Green Beans organization, where we work to cross promote different initiatives and programs that they might have with our office. We also do, as part of being sustainability, a lot of it is education on different sustainable initiatives. So we have workshops and seminars and different things that we host. Two of our biggest things that we host on like a monthly basis are our Eco Talks, which we host at the end of every single month, where we bring in a guest speaker to talk about some kind of sustainable initiative that they are doing on or around, you're in and or around Detroit. So if that applies to you and you would like to be an Eco Talk speaker, definitely message us in the chat. We would love to have you. We also have webinars that take place bi-weekly on our Instagram, where we have our Instagram information at the end of the slide. So definitely follow us, check us out there. And yeah, so we do a lot of good fun work in the sustainability office at Wayne State.
So what's the point of kind of switching to non-toxic cleaners? Like, why is this such an important topic? Well, first off, many conventional cleaner products include hazardous chemicals, and some of these hazardous chemicals have ingredients that are known to be carcinogens, neurotoxins, and endocrine disruptors, and etc. The list goes on. And also a lot of the cleaning products that you would usually buy at your grocery store are sold in aerosol cans, and those are not so great because they react to produce ozone, and so we have the good ozone that's above the stratosphere, and it provides a protection layer for us on Earth, but then we have bad ozone, which is at the ground level and causes issues with folks with asthma and just overall not great. And then we have the stormwater system overflows, which the Sierra Club and Friends of the Rouge both were speaking about, and that when those systems get overloaded, the water that's mixed from stormwater and also your households gets released into the river with minimal treatment. So don't want that in our water streams. And also you can save money. So
forgot to unmute myself there. So the importance of having the basics in all of these different DIY recipes that we have, and as Gracie mentioned, they're linked at the, they'll be linked to the resources and materials page at the end of this presentation, the full presentation. There are some key ingredients to most, if not all of these recipes, because a lot of these ingredients have antibacterial components, or cleaning materials and different things like that. So it makes it really easy to find these at the local store, at the local grocery store kind of thing. So if you do look into this recipe guide, some things that you'll be seeing a lot are the need for a spray bottle. This one, for instance, is just one that I've been able to reuse from a previous purchase. You can also get glass ones that are a little bit better of a sustainable option. Cornstarch, baking soda, vinegar, lemon juice has a antibacterial component, so it'll be found in a lot of cleaning supplies, and liquid soap. So without further ado, the demonstration. So I have, like I mentioned, I have my bottle right here. I'm going to be demonstrating a quick recipe for all-purpose kitchen cleaner. Super easy to do, super easy to make. So for demonstration purposes, I've already filled my bottle with some water. Oops. I think I lost the presentation. Does anyone else see the presentation, or is it just me? Oh, okay. So I've halved the recipe so that it could fit in this bottle, but for demonstration purposes. So I've got half a quart of warm water in here. I have my oil-based liquid soap that you'll just kind of squeeze into your recipe. And then it calls for 1 squeeze of lemon juice. Again, for recipe purposes, I have already squeezed my lemon. So this is the lemon. And we'll just kind of add it to our concoction here. And then you'll just shake it all up and you've got your all-purpose kitchen cleaner. So super easy to use, super easy to make. There are multiple ways that you can apply a lot of these DIY recipes too. So you can either do it like I have with a cleaning bottle. You just spray down the surface and wipe it down with a clean rag. Or you can add all these ingredients to a bucket and you can wipe the surface down with a rag. So it's versatile and there's a lot of different ways to do these things.
And then listed on the right there is what else is included in the guide that will be attached. And these are kind of the unique ones that we saw in there: the grease cutter, oven cleaner, drain cleaner, so those nasty food processors, and floor wax, carpet stain remover, leather cleaner, air fresheners, pest control, and car wax.
So that is the end of our presentation from the Office of Campus Sustainability. We want to thank the Sierra Club and the Friends of the River Rouge, or Friends of the Rouge, for inviting us to join If you do end up creating your own home cleaners, we would love to see a photo of it. So please tag us on Instagram or on Facebook. You can find us both at Warrior Sustainability. So thank you all so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And now we are moving on to EcoWorks. I'm going to stop sharing.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone can see my screen. So my name is Deborah Washington, and I'm the program manager for the EcoD department at EcoWorks. EcoWorks, we kind of cover education relating to sustainability, energy primarily, but also water, student focus with our guest program, and also business and our multifamily business owners as well. So it's kind of broad, but our core is like energy. What I'm sharing, it'll just be a little bit of some like low cost, no cost tips, and then also I'll show you some of our web page links. Just go to the site so you can see some of the programs that we have actively going and also in the past. So it'll be things that you as a resident, or if you're like a teacher, or if you're like a community member that's like kind of lead your neighborhood, it'll be ways to connect up and find out more about other programs. So a core of our programs for the EcoD department is reaching out to residents and neighborhood organizations, and it's really just our energy smart, low cost, no cost strategies. And so right where we at, this slide is just kind of letting you explaining that. I'm sorry. All right. So one of the things, even before you get anything significant done, like you say, well, what can I do outside of like, using programs, existing programs to reduce your energy and water use, is just certain behaviors, whether it's behaviors or it's just how you use the systems in your house. And so programming your thermostat, that's an example of something that you can do on your own. It doesn't require anything special. And the idea is that if you like use the program settings, if you're not used to using it, but if you learn how to use the program settings, you're able to actually like get long-term savings over the winter months. And what that comes out to be is potentially 3% savings for every 1 to 2 degrees that you can like reduce your energy use. And so what that might look like is if you normally turn your thermostat up to 72 degrees, and that's kind of, you don't go past 72, but if you're able to somehow reduce that down to 70 and make a couple like adjustments where you might wear a warmer socks, or you might not use a thinner blanket, you might use a heavier blanket. So any behavioral adjustments that you can get the kids or just everybody in the home to make to allow you to like dial down that thermostat and then lock that into your program, that means that over that heating season, you're able to capture those savings because the furnace is kind of operating on an efficient manner, and it's not really at the whim of you turning up and down, up and down, up and down. Same thing with your water heater. It's one of those like small things, but it adds up in your gas consumption. Just being able to turn your water heater down from the highest setting to the middle or the moderate setting, which is like 120 degrees, that also offers you some savings. The highest setting might give you that piping hot water coming out, but you consume more gas. And then, of course, like it's some other things, there's like second refrigerators, second freezers, if you really need it. Yes, a deep freezer can be efficient for as far as shopping, but if it's not being used or you only have a few items in there, then again, you can missing out on some savings by just not using it. Same thing with a fridge in the basement. We like to say like, if you just keep like some drinks or pops in that refrigerator, it's a full size refrigerator, then it's like, that's kind of like the most expensive pop that you can buy. So it's like the pop cost plus the extra energy cost electric that you're tacking onto it just to like keep a couple of drinks cold. For people who have old units, you can use blankets. They have special blanket design for water heaters. So that's just a minor thing. And then blackout shades and using like smart power strips. Those are other little ways that you can also get savings. Air leaks is one of those things that we try to like be mindful of. An easy test is a daylight test. If you can stand inside your home and look out the front door, the back door, or whatever porch door, and you see light, if you see light around the door, that's a leak. So just keep in mind, like the house is like a system, is really like all those leaks added up is what kind of pushes the furnace or pushes our AC units or our central air to like work a little harder. So we want airflow. Some airflow is good. We don't want a super tight house, but those leaks are easy leaks that you can kind of seal up. And you can use weather stripping around the doors to do that. If you got air, you feel air, you have a leak at the bottom of the door, that's where a door sweep will come in. If you have a fireplace and maybe you don't even use the fireplace at all, this looks nice, then making sure that the trap is closed, and then also the dampener is closed. And in addition to that, if you want to really, really make sure in the wintertime, you can actually take a piece of foam board and cut it out and stick it up in that space, right? So just putting up that foam board, insulation board up in that space means that none of that heat's going to go through there. Caulk is like the ultimate permanent solution when you're talking about windows or around any other places where you want to do some kind of like permanent sealing for air. But there are alternative solutions that are like non-permanent. And sometimes caulk can be a little messy, but it's needed. And that's where you can use rope caulk, which is kind of like a rubbery substance. And you can use that to like temporarily seal up those gaps around windows. I didn't mention, but one like low cost, like if you got a fixer upper home, say you just got a house, it might be a land bank house, or this might be a house that you're like getting ready to rent out, or it needs a lot of work and it's going to take a long process. Plastic bags are awesome recycling insulator. So you could take all those extra, if you have a lot of extra grocery bags. I'm not sure if you're like me, I try to use my own carry in, but for some reason it seems like I keep piling up like plastic bags, even though I have the reusable ones I take. But one way you can reuse those bags is if you have like a door or some kind of window that really needs a lot of repair, then you could take those plastic bags and stuff them into that cavity with a butter knife. Another thing is water. So again, like I said, energy, water, we try to like kind of combine and like kind of get all those sustainability and savings. The best thing you could do and the most important thing you can do is making sure you don't have any leaks. And that could be from the toilet or it could be from some other source. A simple test that you can do at home is called the whole house test. And so you just locate and find where your water meter is in the water closet, wherever that meter is. And here's an image of a meter. Yours is going to look similar. It might look a little different. And what you can do is you can make sure that all the water in your home is turned off. If everything's cut off, make sure that the ice maker is not going to come on and turn on. So just temporarily turn that off. And maybe disappear for 3 hours, go shopping, wherever you're going to leave the house, or you're going to go spend 3 hours outside in the yard. And then come back, before you leave, though, you write down that number on the meter. So you write down a sequence of numbers. When you come back in that 3 hours, you go and check and write that number. So that number shouldn't have changed, right? If you didn't use any water, if none of your appliances asked for any water, then it shouldn't change. If it did change, that means you have a leak somewhere. So it could be a toilet, it could be under a sink, it could be something outside, but that means that you definitely have a leak somewhere. So that number shouldn't move. And of course, the first culprit would be a toilet, to check that you don't have a sneaky leak through a toilet, which attributes to a huge amount of water loss. Rain barrels, of course, people talked about that earlier, but I know rain barrels is a great way to like, again, reduce that outside water use. And that allows you to like repurpose that water for outside as opposed to like asking for fresh water from the faucet. So if you're interested, and this would be for any Detroit resident and those maybe that know people that's in Detroit, we have our Healthy Home Kit program. And so you can take a look at our website, EcoWorksDetroit.org, Healthy Homes / Healthy Homes. And actually in that kit, it provides many of those items that I showed on those slides for like energy saving. And you kind of go through and do an audit. And you can see here, so you conduct your audit. And then after you complete the survey, then we will custom build a kit for you based on your audit in your home, and then we'll deliver it to your house front door. So that's a way that you can get many of those energy saving supplies. That includes LED light bulbs, also like a non-toxic cleaner. And it was great seeing the Wayne State folks talk about cleaners you can make, but also the cleaner that we include in our kit is actually non-toxic as well. So you don't have to worry about the chlorine or some other like allergens in there that might affect people. Also, we have our soil lead project led by Allison Harris. And so again, if that's something you would like to maybe bring to your neighborhood or your community, I believe they're carrying it on. And so we might have another go around this year. Definitely get in touch with her. That's a great program, and sends you back a report. Actually, I'll let you see what your garden or your yard or front yard. So part of the programs, they test your front and your backyard, so you actually get an idea to find out what's the lead concentrations and arsenic as well, just so you're aware. It's not just even from the garden standpoint, because you can do the raised bed, but also just knowing like maybe it's areas where you shouldn't allow the kids, or you just want to be mindful that, oh yeah, you could be tracking that into your home. And in another program, the last one I just talked about, the Detroit Heat Watch program. This was a pretty great program. This is a little more of a street scientist or community science type program, where we had a number, Jordan, he had a number of people out throughout Detroit collecting heat mapping data. So again, I would get in touch with him and find out how you can maybe get involved. I know that they might want to expand and get some more data, but I think this is a great program. Or if you're just interested in like kind of supporting or offering some other ways that we can take it to a different neighborhood in particular and do like a more dense map, then again, he's a great person to connect with. And I'll put my information in the chat. You want to contact me, I'm Jabron Washington. And again, my name is gwashington@ecoworksdetroit.org. And also, I'll make sure that the links that I showed you share out, so you can go there at a later date and try to get in touch with us if you're interested in our programs.
Thank you, Jabron. I am going to start sharing my screen again. And now we are going to pass it to Keep Growing Detroit.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lindsay Pileck, and I'm here from Keep Growing Detroit. It's so good to see so many familiar faces. So excited for spring to come. So thank you for having us to share. I think we've been at all of the Green Your Neighborhood events, and we love it. Keep Growing Detroit is a nonprofit organization here in the city, and we hope when you think about how you're going to green your neighborhood, you'll also think about green vegetables and how you can work that into your plan. You can go to the next slide. So not only are gardens, when you think about sustainability, a local food system, a strong food system, we're going to be looking at how we're reducing the impact of the global, the global food system, and all of the energy and, transportation and water and things that go into our global food system and transporting all that food from all over the world. But also when you think about, especially as it relates to, the work we've done with Sierra Club and Friends of the Rouge in the past, of how gardens can also provide, shared ecosystem services like what we've been talking about here today. So how can gardens, serve, retaining some of that water and then growing vegetables and keeping that from running off into the Detroit River. And then you'll see, I think Elois Moore is over here on the left with her rain garden. And one of the things that we've been really honored to, partner with is how do we make sure that gardens are also places where we can install some of these rain gardens and rain barrels and some of the things. I love to see how all of these different organizations, how our work all connects as we work towards a more sustainable Detroit. So in terms of Keep Growing Detroit and what you can look to for us to increase opportunities to grow local food for your family, for your community, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. We have a program called the Garden Resource Program, where backyard family gardens, community gardens, school gardens can join the program and get seeds and vegetable transplants for your garden. So like last year, this year, we're doing curbside distribution with the Garden Resource Program to make sure it's safe to pick up your seeds and plants. But as we saw last year, you know, having direct access to fruits and vegetables in our own backyards is not only wonderful, but also a really important tool in terms of when we think about resilience during all of these challenging times. You know, COVID is one thing, but we're continuing to see, you know, events that are caused by climate change, and growing our resilient local food system is really key. So we hope the Garden Resource Program helps residents, whether they want to go a small backyard garden or a large farm, to have the resources they need. So you can go to the next slide. So we know that having seeds and plants is one thing, but also having the support to get started. Oh, yeah, that one, yep, is really important. So we provide a lot of garden development support, everything from taking soil tests to helping provide compost or raised beds for community gardens, and different, you know, supports that you might need. So how to get started, what do I do if my church wants to start a garden, or my block club? We provide a lot of garden development support to get you going, so that you are working towards a garden that you have the capacity to sustain and or grow to whatever your vision might be. Next slide. We also have a wide array of education and training opportunities. So normally these are out in the community, in the gardens, where you really get to meet and be inspired by all, you know, gardeners from across the city. This year they're virtual. So if you're interested, you can go to our website. We have recordings from most of the classes from last year, but these are topics, everything from basic gardening to season extension, to water catchment systems, cooking, canning, beekeeping. And we also have some programs that are focused at youth in terms of youth development, and we have an apprenticeship program. So again, providing resources, but also education so that you're successful in growing. You can go ahead to the next slide. So we operate a farm in the Eastern Market District, the KGD farm, but we also work with a number of growing farms across the city to make sure that as they're growing fruits and vegetables, that they are connecting with the community. So Grown in Detroit is a program that supports residents that want to sell their fruits and vegetables. So we normally are at Eastern Market. Right now we have, last year we created an online farm store, and we're hoping to do a hybrid model next year. But supporting residents that want to earn some money from growing fruits and vegetables, and also making sure that the fruits and vegetables that are grown are in the hands of those who would like to eat them. So with Grown in Detroit, we do, I'm going to I'll put the links in the chat. But the farm store not only sells fruits and vegetables, but as you think about some of the other green infrastructure projects that you're working on, we've worked very closely with Friends of the Rouge and Sierra Club in making sure that native plants are also available. So we'll have our plant sale this year again. There are some plants that will be available in May, and then another round in August. So trying to make sure that we use our infrastructure at our farm to not only grow fruits and vegetable transplants, but also, you know, native plants. So if you're looking for sourcing for those, you can go ahead and check in with us. Let's see what else. I was going to say something else. But yes, so, you know, we're really honored to be here, and spring is coming. So I hope if you're interested in growing, that you can get in contact with us. I'll put the link to the Garden Resource Program as well as to the KGD Farm Store. There's a ton of different ways to get involved, whether you have, you know, a garden or not. There's education classes. Hopefully we'll be getting back soon also to volunteer opportunities. We typically have open hours at our farm. If you're interested in learning more about how to grow food, or you just want to be involved in the local food system. There's also, like I said, through Grown in Detroit, opportunities to support local farms by, you know, purchasing local. So Starting in, I think the last week in April is when Grown in Detroit will start selling. And then we weekly will have our farm store. And then, like I said, hopefully we'll be back at the stands at Eastern Market this year. So when you think about how you can make an impact, know that supporting local farms and gardens that are growing this great fruits and vegetables is a great way to bring it home local. And again, make so many positive impacts as it relates to sustainability. So thanks everyone. And hopefully that gave you a little touch of the spring that's coming. It'll be here in no time.
Thank you. And now we are going to Zero Waste Detroit.
Oh, sorry about that, you guys. Couldn't unmute, couldn't undo my camera. Good evening, everybody. And thank you so much for having me. I want to start out. I am Deborah Stewart Anderson, and I'm the new coordinator for Zero Waste Detroit. So I want to give a brief history of the Zero Waste Detroit program. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Detroit Recycling Program, and I'll also let everyone know how they can get resources and they can sign up for the trainings that I will have, upcoming trainings. I had 3 this past month to qualify for a free bin if you don't already have one, or just to learn some real good information, some basics of recycling. We do a lot of talk about the contamination aspect of your bins. I'm also touching on the zero waste components and how it relates to mitigating climate change. So those are some of the things. We play a little game. We give away a few little inside recycling bins. So I will get that information over to Ms. Elliott and she can pass it along after I'm done. Can you go to the next one, please? So I'm sure that most of you are familiar with Zero Waste Detroit. I have been educating myself. I remember Zero Waste Detroit when it started. I've always been an environmental person, but I never worked with them closely. But it's a collaborative of over 20 community environmental and environmental justice organizations in Detroit. And the issue really started back in the, I got in mind, it should be mid-1980s when Detroit first built the largest municipal incinerator in the world with the financial obligation of sustaining it, the citizens of Detroit. So Zero Waste Detroit's goal was to, so as I was saying, zero waste, now we're going to talk about the, where are we? Okay, we're a collaborative of over 20 organizations, as I said before, and we really came together with that goal in mind of closing down that incinerator. But we wanted to move our city to a zero waste city that was doing recycling and composting. May I go to the next slide, please? So here are just a few of our accomplishments. Starting in 2009, when the city of Detroit started that small recycling curbside program. Then in 2008, they also put through a resolution through the city council to support the zero waste model. In June of 2010, Zero Waste Detroit marched, of course, in the U.S. Social Forum that was held here during that year. So 2011, they added the language to the city charter to mandate recycling as an option for Detroit residents. Of course, in 2011, that brownfield tax credit was defeated. That actually was the big funder for the incinerator. So therefore, we were glad about that. And we partnered with Green Living Science to provide education and the rollout of the first recycling program for city residents. So hip hip hooray, in 2019, we actually achieved our goal of shutting down the incinerator, never to be reopened again. Next slide, please. Okay, now these were a few of the challenges, of course, and obstacles. You know, it was really back. Okay, yeah, it was really hard to get around the vested interests, you know, the powerful people with the money who depended on that incinerator for their own energy purposes, but we defeated them. And so the history of racism, of course, and mistrust among groups in the city was also a great factor for us when we tried to put forth our efforts. So now I'm going to talk about lessons learned. So some of the lessons learned. Persistence. That was what I learned from their work. Although I was not around at that time, I understand environmental justice and I understand policy change. So being persistent and focused was really what made them accomplish their goal. And of course, all the other members of the coalition that worked really hard to make this happen. Next slide, please. So now I want to talk about the resources that you all can take advantage of, and I'm going to give you some updates. Now, we really need to breathe some life into our recycling program here in the city, because we're barely, I think the latest numbers are something like 15 to 18% of the households are recycling in the city. And we must move that needle. We're looking to also start the multifamily commercial recycling program that was supposed to roll out in 2020. But of course, because of the COVID, that didn't happen, but that will happen. We're looking hopefully by the end of March. We're just waiting for city council approval. But getting back to the problem with the city and the reason why folks are not recycling. I don't know if the word is not getting out. We are really at Zero Waste Detroit, with the help of Michigan Environmental Council and our other coalition members, we're getting ready to really roll out the recycling for the households also and the multifamily. So please, I will be sending over some handouts for whoever, Cindy or whoever's going to send them out. And it also will contain a flyer. And I will be having 2 to 3 trainings per month. Our trainings, we will go over the basics of recycling. We will talk mainly about that zero waste component and initiative and how we can keep down the contamination in our bins. So I would love to see some of you join me for some of those training programs. An hour well spent. We discuss a lot of things and we even have prizes. So hopefully, if you have time, please come out and take advantage of that. And for those who don't have a recycle bin, if you attend my training, you will be eligible to receive that bin free when it is really $25. Yes, and I see that Miss Regina had a question in the chat. Yes, seniors will be getting a chance because the multifamily recycling program will be rolling out very soon, and you'll be able to get the bin to have inside of your apartment to start your recycling. And you will take that bin and you will dump it in the main bin for the haulers to pick up. How do you assess those trainings and website? I am going to put my email address right now in the chat. Anybody, please feel free to reach out to me Whatever I can do, if I don't have the information, because I'm still learning a lot of things myself, I will definitely get it for you. So I'm going to put my information in the chat now. And I really appreciate you all bearing with me. And I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It just shut down on me. So I'm putting my email address in the chat now. So that's all I have. If there are any more questions, please, if we have time, feel free.
Thank you. If there are any more questions, please continue to put those in the chat. I would like to thank each of our panelists for participating tonight. It was a joy to have you all. We really appreciate the opportunity to work with you all and to help spread the word about the wonderful work that you all are doing in the city of Detroit. I would also like to thank all of you for attending tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for this virtual 2021 Green Your Neighborhood Community Forum. This is a month-long series, so this is just the beginning. You were a part of the very first one. So if you would like to join us for more conversations, we are talking about green infrastructure and public space at Eliza Howe Park on the west side, or a look at Eliza Howe Park, which is on the west side of Detroit. We're exploring the power of trees as a stormwater management tool with Karen Firehawk, who is the director of the Green Infrastructure Center based out of Virginia. And if you were interested in the Rain Garden to the Rescue program that was mentioned at the beginning of this and throughout the presentation, please join us for an info session to learn more about that program, as well as the Stormwater Specialist Training Program, which is a workforce development program to teach folks how to maintain green infrastructure projects. And we are also having a conversation with some of the entities in the Detroit Cultural Center to talk about the green infrastructure plans as they redevelop and redesign the Cultural Center, what that means and what that will look like. So if you would like to learn more, you can visit therouge.org/green-your-neighborhood for details and registration links for each of those events.